What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? I cheated on a spelling test in grade 4 of primary school and was awarded the grade's best speller award at the end of year assembly. I sent in the form for one of those 90s era CD subscription things where you get 5 free but have to pay so much a month after that. I purposely spelled my last name wrong so when the bill came and my mom freaked out I could say, "Mom, this bill isn't for Gendo, it's for Gendo." Totally got away with my scam and my uncensored copy of Eminem. I paid off my student loans writing smut, and I mean real smut, kinky, fetishy, no plot stroker books. I loved every last second of it. Then I switched to writing mostly wholesome romances under a new pen name. I doubt very much that my readers would enjoy the crossover, although who knows? I routinely have cheated. My wife has no idea, but that's the only way I can beat her at rummy. She is just that good at cards. I made about 50 grand filming porn. Paid for college and haven't gone back to it. Would almost consider it as a fallback. But if it got out it would royally duck up my current career. Thankfully this was from a day and age when pseudonyms actually kept people anonymous. I work in advertising as a 3D lighter for very high profile clients like Apple, Google, Facebook, etc. My job is to ensure that every bit of computer generated imagery is texture and lit in a way that matches how it would look in real life. Funny thing is I'm severely red-green colorblind. The only way I can tell what color something is supposed to be is by sampling a pixel on the screen and reading out the red, green and blue values. I've nearly memorized the hue numbers from 0-360 and where things fall in the rainbow chart. I've had shots come back to my inbox telling me that something that's supposed to be red looks too brownish green or something that's supposed to be dark green looks purple. I always say I accidentally had a hue shift on it at render time or make up some funny excuse like the lighting info from the shoot had a weird tinge to it. I've been doing this for 7 years now and the only people who know are my girlfriend and best friend and family. More seriously, I worked at a giant company as a picker. I discovered that through an easy exploit, I could pick 2-3 items an hour and still hit curve. Because everyone there is an idiot. They never questioned it and I was eventually promoted. Position after that had me training hundreds of people in the warehouses. I discovered that my predecessor did it all and didn't do paperwork for anyone. I made the mistake of telling my boss so the job of fixing 7 years of missing paperwork fell on me. Discovering it was a project destined to fail and hating the company, I made up hundreds of fake paperwork and filed them, entered them into the system. Again. Because where I worked everyone is an idiot. No one noticed for the 3 years I worked at the company despite much of it not making any sense. Some of the names are signed hahaha duck you, I hate this place. I got further promotions for my productivity and did the same thing across multiple facilities. By my estimate, roughly 30-40% of the company's Canadian records are obvious BS. Yet I was never fired or found out. Despite what my employer and friends believe, I'm not really a person. I'm just a self-aware Reddit sock puppet account that gained sentience in 2015 and has been posting ever since. Maybe won't ruin my life in the traditional sense. I was molested for years by my mum's favorite cousin. I have to see him for every family event and even though I'm in my 20s, being in his presence, let alone him touching me, makes me feel for all over again. If it came out, I am pretty sure my family would take his side. I was bored and drunk, so I peed in my own mouth to see what it was like. I have no clue what I'm doing and am anxious 99% of the time. I was not actually born on the 1st of January, 1900. Sorry for the deception. Early 2000s era porn sites. I signed up for disneychannel.com before I turned 18 without my parents' permission. Sales of my children's book would plummet if the porn novels I've written, under a pen name, ever got connected back to me. In 3rd grade, I cheated on my history exam. In 4th grade, I stole my Uncle Max's toupee and I glued it on my face when I was Moses in my Hebrew school play. 5th grade, I knocked my sister Edie down the stairs and I blamed it on the doggers when my mom sent me to the summer camp for fat kids and then they served lunch. I got nuts and I pigged out and they kicked me out. But the worst thing I ever done is I mixed a pot of fake puke at home and then I went to this movie theater, hid the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony and then I made a noise like this. And then I dumped it over the side, all over the people in the audience. And then, this was horrible. All the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life. I hate 60% of the people in my life. Some days, the masquerade isn't as blatant, or I just act all sarcastic with it. So whenever old friends message me, oh it's been so long since we've met, part of me is like yay, I know, that's the plan. But I love a good 20% though. Those I would do almost anything for. Eater, holy cow, never expected this comment to get replies. The remaining 20% are people I'm completely indifferent to. A mixture of how they're cool but they hang out with trashy people. Or generally people I work with but don't go beyond anything further than that. Helps that I suck with names and remembering people too. But they don't fall into either category. Okay, I posted it because staying in a dorm, the amount of gossip is insane. So, there's a good chunk of people I cannot stand. At all. I also felt this sense of I love so many people but god, I cannot stand even more people. So glad it's normal. I planned and executed the perfect heist. I got a job at my local bank and every week they would give me money and after giving a cut to Her Majesty I got to pocket the rest. I did this for 40 years. Then one day I handed in some paper and I just walked out the front door. They still don't know what hit them. I've just been kicked out of uni not for academic reasons but because my mother attempted to kill herself and my mental health got rock bottomed as a result. I currently live with my old man who has told me a number of times the only reason he can be having me around is that I am studying and he sympathizes with how hard it is to study and work. I'm kinda terrified to tell anyone as a result because becoming homeless is a rather scary prospect. Update. I just wanna say a big thank you to everyone who has messaged or replied to this. You've helped a lot in making me not feel so alone on this and in getting me to mobilize a plan to appeal being kicked out. We'll update this again if you would like to know the result after the appeal. Update. I finally heard back today and after a pretty lengthy back and forth they've decided to allow me to continue to study O circumflex Y with diaresis copyright airing O circumflex Y with diaresis copyright airing O circumflex Y with diaresis copyright airing O circumflex Y with diaresis copyright airing. My browser history and chat logs. If those came out, I'd no joke be dead. I no longer believe in my religion and my family and extended family are insanely integrated into it to the point that I would be shunned and disowned for following anti-lies and leaving the church. Until recently, I was writing some pretty graphic BDSM literotica. I was a prostitute from the age of 14-30. I'm pretty sure that my boyfriend would consider this knowledge a major deal breaker. Maybe not ruin but IDK. I don't tell people in my real life that I'm bipolar except for a chosen few. I'm in a management position kind of thing at work and I'd rather them not find out there is a crazy person in charge of men and jobs. There is a huge stigma surrounding bipolar disorder. People know or have known someone who has had it and they went crazy. It is both true and false. I have had to be hospitalized and stayed in a cell away from other people I'm told for 2 weeks. But I'm not a danger to myself or others because I know a lot more now and the signs leading up to me getting that far. Starting in the mid 1960s, I worked at a GM factory in Detroit assembling Cadillacs. Sadly, as I worked on the cars each day, I realized I could never afford one. That's when I decided to steal a Cadillac. But, to avoid getting caught, I'd only steal one piece at a time, day by day. Took me 25 ducking years until I could assemble the damn thing. To this day, only my wife and I know how I got all those car parts. I wrote erotica about my friends and the popular girls at my middle school. I was a sexually depraved and ludicrously unattractive fedora wearing edgelord. Do I regret it? Not really. Rather be that guy at 13 than at 25. Was basically an escort. Technically a sugar baby but in reality it is just glorified escort. Only difference is that we would go eat dinner before ducking. Made $500 per date. I am on the nerdier side, and most of my friends are too. I don't like Star Wars, Firefly, or Pokemon. I must stay anonymous, or get burned at the stake for nerd heresy. I've been telling my parents I've been going to college for the past 2 years, but I'm actually just harvesting and selling large quantities of weed with my ex-girlfriend's dad and putting all the profits into a savings fund. It's so devastating that even anonymously online I wish to not say. I am heavily into the BDSM scene. I am a high school teacher. This coming out would ruin me. Not a fan of Rick and Morty. Throwaway because reasons. I'm a sadist and a dom. I'm not talking about I like a little rough play, I'm talking about the way their blood tastes. Heavily bruising. Can't walk right. Hurts to sit. Knives. Whips. All sorts of stuff like that. As well as CNC etc. I enjoy all that stuff. I work in human services and want to be a teacher. My family would probably disown me. So yeah, that it is locked down tight. I used to bite my toes and toenails. That's all I can think of. Was really hard to hide as a lifelong swimmer since the water made the bitten off skin just show so vividly. I have a secret Facebook account with the name Greg Lemon. I lied on resumes and handed them to several places. If it came out I'd be back to flipping burgers for $10 an hour. My D is way too big. Freakishly big. Like, most women wouldn't enjoy levels of big. The kind they'd have to see and touch up close to understand my shame. If anyone ever knew, I could never tell people that my name is Tim Regis, age 32, from Cuyahoga Falls 044,223. If they ever learned that I work for the Summit County Health Department, from 8 AM to 6 PM Monday, Thursday, and then came in asked to see it in the second floor unisex bathroom, I would be devastated. This was posted many years ago. If you are in the mood for some dark content, take a look through the old comments. Many about made me cry. I killed a man in 1963. JK. My nudes being leaked would probably negatively impact me in multiple ways. I'm a happily married heterosexual man. 2 kids. Good job. Do some charity work. Ordinary hobbies. Occasionally when visiting a nearby town I visit the gay sauna. Even more occasionally I visit a local bathroom that I know has a glory hole. I can't tell anyone I roll. And I can't explain, defend or justify it in the slightest. I'm careful and discreet. I don't have any wish to leave my wife and I don't consider myself gay. I just sometimes get an itch that nothing else can scratch. I'm falling for the girl that I made this account to make a comment about, and I am pretty sure she is falling for me. As I said in my comment a while ago, she is one of my girlfriend's best friends, in her most treasured group of friends, who have known each other for longer than the 7 years we've been together. And my wedding is in 6 months. I would not cheat. I know there are 2 options. Resist temptation or cancel the wedding and leave my fiancé significant other of 7 years, who I love. I don't see the latter as an option, but it's giving me severe cold feet.